Hello everyone, PDF here, and welcome back for a bit of a different video. See, the last video I put out, if you remember, was my quick fix for Old Guy's new iron farm design so you could turn it into a trading hall. And that got me thinking a bit. Now, this may come as an absolute surprise, but villagers in Bedrock Edition are a pain in the butt. I know it's hard to believe, it was shocking to me too. Villagers are not the easiest to work with. Or are they? You see, I've been doing a bunch of experimenting and kind of trying a bunch of stuff out, and while villagers are overall still a pain, I've learned quite a few interesting things about them that I think may just change the way not only we look at them, but some of the things we can do with them in Bedrock Edition as well. Let's zip on over to a different spot in my test world here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here we have the Minecraft villager, Bedrock Edition style. We're going to grab ourselves a bed and any old workstation, it doesn't matter what. Now, one thing I had always sort of kind of went off of was I was told, and I think even the wiki and I've seen other people say that villagers will detect a workstation up to, I think it was like 40, 48 blocks away and stuff. And, they're really kind of a pain to work with. You can't use workstations as decoration, that all sorts of things that have been said about villagers. But that's not what I've found. Let's take a look at our friend here. Now, as you can see, I have some areas marked out on the ground here. What do these mean? Well, turns out it's not just the iron farm that has a few interesting mechanics with villagers. As we know, if we put a bed down, if we give him a moment, he'll go, oh, there's a bed. I'd like that. But it turns out there's a radius for both bed, if we watch. You want the bed, don't you? Yep. And job block, because they need the bed to take the job block, that they're able to see it in. And that's part of what these things marked out are. Now, believe it or not, there is a limit to how far away things will be for villagers to find them. And it's not as big as you think. What we have here, this block on all sides is 10 blocks away, and as we can see, let me put the bed down. Have to have a bed to link to a workstation. That much is still true, hasn't changed any. And if we put this 10 blocks out, obviously he's still going to find it. No matter what direction we put it in, 10 blocks out, he'll find it. May take him a moment, but they find it every single time. Well, what if we went a little farther? That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 blocks out. Let's try that. What do you know? 15, 15, 15, and last but not least, 15. Well, it turns out there's a little more to it than that. We will use a bit of something we learned from Old Guy's Iron Farm video. And if you remember, if you look at the top of a pumpkin, the stem will always point north and west. In the Iron Farm, we added a row of blocks to the north and a row of blocks to the west. Well, it turns out that's true for job blocks as well. As you can see, this block here is 16 blocks out. He can still find it. This is the west side. 16 blocks out on the north, he can find it. But if we go 16 on the east, nothing. Same with the south. And you saw how quickly he took it when it was on 15. And just to show you, he's taking it, but he won't take it past 15 blocks east or south, 16 blocks north or west. That's the job block radius for an individual villager. 16 by 16 north, 16 west, 15 east, 15 south. They will not take one beyond that if we're just looking at a single villager. It gets a little weirder when you add more, and we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. But there's still more. So as we know, beds, it's up 4, down 4. That's the range they'll detect the beds in. Turns out it's the same for job blocks as well. Watch. So obviously, if we put it in the ground here, he's going to see it. If we put it on the ground, if we go up 1, 2, 3, If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, so this would be 5. Something missing perhaps? He can't see the job block when it's on the 5th block up. Also works for down. I'm going to leave that there just to show us. And I have a handy little hole set up here. So we saw he took it there. So that'd be 1. This is 2. 3. 4. So let's go down 5. As you can see, they can't see it when it's 5 blocks up or down. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities in terms of using these as decorative blocks. As long as it's up or down far enough, they won't see it, just like the beds. So now we can maybe start using, say, anvils as railings as long as the section they're on is high enough off the ground. I was pretty shocked at this. Pretty interesting that it works that way. Now let's take a look what happens when we add some other villagers into the mix. Here's my friend. Just in case anyone still doubted they don't see the blocks above a certain amount. I'd say if he can't spot one of those, he ain't seeing any of them. We're even going to leave those for this whole thing. So, here is our friendly villager. I have another one right over here, and a third right over here. Now, something I've found when it comes to job blocks, let's take a look. As we know, he can detect it 16 blocks to the north. Now, what I've discovered is actually kind of weird, and this is still, I'm not entirely sure about how all of this works, but at least it's kind of a beginning theory. In Bedrock, villagers kind of have a hive mind, it seems. They all seem to basically function on the same brain cell, which anybody who's used villagers in Bedrock would already kind of know that to some degree, but I mean, it actually, they do seem to have a hive mind. So I have one villager here, one over here, 40 blocks away, believe it or not, and 40, but by 40 I mean 40 out, 40 this way for the two of them, so they're out there pretty far from each other. What we'll do, let me grab my building block again here, let's pick a job block. What's one that's, you know what, we will grab grindstone. Now I'm going to put this on 16, and you'd think that he would be the one to take it. Well, there's particles, so that would mean one of our other two took it. It's not this one. It's our friend over here decided to link up to it. Now, here's an interesting thing. I used a spawn egg to bring these villagers in. He was the first one, that was the second, they were the third. It seems like the order they're spawned in does have some effect as to who takes what in what order. I still haven't figured out all the details, but there's something there. Somebody with a bit more time and more than 1 and like 3/4 functioning brain cells like me could probably figure it out a little bit more. But it's a start of a theory that if we can kind of figure it out, I think will help when it comes to building villages and just getting them to stick with their workstations. It's something's there. If y'all want to jump in and help out, please do. I know we can crack this. But let's continue. So as we saw, villager over there took the workstation 16 blocks out because it's within his range. He could see it. But if we go 17, nothing. It's not in his range. He could take it because he could see it. Yeah, look, we'll switch job blocks just to kind of show. Let's go with cartographer. Particles. And as we can see, our friend over here is a cartographer. Now, let's pick, we'll say a blast furnace. It really doesn't matter which ones. 15, well, this is 10. 15 blocks out in his detection range. Particles. So let's see which of our other two decided to take it. And that was our friend in the middle here. He could take it because he could see it. As long as there's a job block, or even as long as there's something like, I think even with beds, if it's in one villager's visual range, it's in all villagers' visual range, it seems like. At least from my testing, that's pretty much what I've discovered. So like I said, kind of a hive mind. One sees it, they all see it. Now, just to kind of show you that, you know, a little more proof of that, I've set up kind of a little display. Let's go take a look. I have 5 villagers here. As you can see, each one linked to a bed. This was the first one I put down. Second, third, fourth, fifth, down that way. And I put the beds down with each one so that way he's linked with that one, they're linked with that one, and so on. And if you look up top here, I'd say they have ample opportunity to pick something. Now, something I tried earlier with these guys is I would put a job block down. I did 5 different ones to see who took what in what order. And this is kind of what I found. There was a pattern. And by the numbers, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 claimed it, second one claimed it, the last one claimed it, then 3, then 4, and then it switched. The 5th one, the 2nd one, the 1st, 3rd, 4th, and as you can see, it repeated each time. And I don't know exactly what that means, but it's something. Again, I'm not as knowledgeable about the deeper workings as some of you who are watching are. So yeah, any assistance you guys want to do, any testing now that you've got kind of what I found here, please do. The more we can figure out, the slightly less annoying these villagers will be. And just to show you what I mean, so 5, 2, 1, 3, 4. In that order, just like I showed in the book. 5, 2, 1, 3, 4. So yeah, as people build maybe their own custom villages or, you know, trading halls, it's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, one other thing I did try is I created a new creative test world. And yeah, again, kind of interesting. This isn't the whole taking it in a certain order doesn't appear to work with a naturally spawned village. My guess is because all the villagers spawn at once, so there isn't, you know, one villager who spawned first or second or whatnot. They all showed up at once. With this, I said that was the first one, the second, third, fourth, fifth. The order of spawning in affects it somehow. As with, like, say you were to, you know, breed some and you got different villagers. It does affect the order of who takes what. It seems to flip-flop sometimes. There's some kind of pattern there. I just haven't quite figured that out yet. But I've done a lot of testing and I figured at least what I found out so far would definitely be worth kind of sharing with everybody. We'll take away his bed, put it up here. As you can see, can't see it. We'll even leave that there. Let me come back over here. And he took it. If you notice, it's a 3-block gap. So then a ceiling/floor. On top of that, you put whatever blocks, they won't see them. Same thing, you go down, the 5th one down, they won't see it. I have been spending all day kind of working with these things and figuring it out and trying to figure it out. And with any luck, that will, you know, maybe help a bunch of people out, solve some issues people have been having, make it so we can at least maybe use job blocks in decorating a little bit more than we've been able to. Not as much as Java, unfortunately, but, you know, it's a start. I'm doing the best I can here for you. But I believe that's going to do it for now. Remember, hit like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you want to see more. My name is Phoenix, and this Phoenix has got to fly. I'll catch you next time.